Hello, everyone. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Mint. Today we are broadcasting a New York City rental market update, and we're thrilled to have Agata Nechtcheret, Theresa Persaud, Jeff Zicker, Everett Smith, and Beatrice Genco joining us for the market update. Hi, everyone. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Hi.
Doing well. Thank you so much for joining us. It's an insane market out there, and we thought it made a lot of sense to give our viewers some information about how hot the market is. That's right, Agata. We have seen some incredible numbers. It's very hot out there. And as five of our Triplemint agents, we know that you all service different areas, and that among your help people find the rentals of their dreams, and also you help landlords get their listings rented. And so we thought you would be an excellent panel to share with us, our viewers, what can expect in the current market. And so thank you again so much for joining us and sharing your wisdom with us. And we're going to just jump right in. So, and by the way, for those of you viewers who have joined us, you are welcome to put your questions in the comments, and we will try to get to them. So, first of all, the rentals in New York City have been a hot topic. Obviously, with COVID first kicked off, there was an exodus from the city. Everybody was talking it, and most people, especially those in real estate, were like, don't worry, New York City is going to be, just as lively or even more severe. So, of course, that's what we've been seeing. There were some COVID discounts, and those disappeared. For those who are waiting for the bottom of the market, they definitely missed it. And so, one of the most interesting stats that I read recently was that rents in New York City rose 6% from June to July, which was the highest of any United States city. Now, these prices, the average prices in New York City for rentals are still about 5% lower than they were at this time last year, but nevertheless, they're rising rapidly. So the question coming to you first, Everett, how does this increase in rents, just month to month, 6%, translate to your clients?
Muted. All right. Yeah. So when I hear that stat, and then when I look at kind of what's going on, I'm not surprised, right? Everyone, especially during the summer, is looking to make their move. And, people that have been gone, I'm getting a lot of clients that have been gone for, the past 18 months, and they're either ready to come back or their employers want them to come back. So I do see the reason why that would happen. And to my landlords, I pretty much advise them, we've got this height in the summer months that, people want to get here before school starts, either for themselves or for their children. And you need to take advantage of it as soon as possible because, A, we have COVID coming back, and B, the things tend to dip off after September anyway. So let's just get ahead of that if we have the chance.
Anyone else want to share how this is impacting your clients?
Yeah, I think it's turned into a bit of a feeding frenzy. So what I think I was personally seeing anecdotally, we all have been talking as agents that the market really, really depends on what neighborhood you're shopping in. Some neighborhoods remained hot through a lot of the pandemic, and others, the Upper East Side lost close to 30% of its value at one point. Wow. So we had some major market shifts. But for I would say the first couple months of this year, things really started to get busy. We saw those headlines that said record number of leases signed in Manhattan and Brooklyn. But what was happening was musical chairs. Anecdotally, I was seeing a lot of New Yorkers who were trading smaller, more expensive spaces for bigger, cheaper spaces. It wasn't people coming back to New York. It was a lot of musical chairs. So when they would fill one vacancy on the market, they would create another. And so inventory numbers for a number of months, despite activity being up, inventory numbers were still sky high. In the last, I would say 4 to 6 weeks, that has completely shifted. Now we have New Yorkers who are still trying to take advantage of some of those last, COVID deals to scoop those up. Plus, to Everett's exact point, people who are trying to get in before the school year starts, people who now have to be back to their office by Labor Day. All of that activity is hitting at once, and it's turned into an absolute feeding frenzy. I have not been this busy in the 6 years that I've been in real estate.
Wow. That's a common theme that I'm hearing among all of our agents. I've seen so many agents who are just completely booked with appointments and clients, both on the rental side and on the sell side. Okay. That's really interesting. And to your point, it depends on the neighborhood you're in. And so what can renters expect to pay for homes around New York City these days? You all service, there's a lot of overlap in the areas that you service, but coming to you first, Theresa, let's say Queens and East Village, which I know are two neighborhoods that you help. What can people expect to pay for, let's say, a 1 and a 2 bedroom in some areas of Queens and in the East Village right now?
Absolutely. So in regards to Queens, I service predominantly Northwest Queens, which is Astoria, Sunnyside, Woodside, Forest Hills. I love Forest Hills. And for those particular areas, 1 to 2 bedrooms, we'll start with 1 bedrooms. The average price is $2,600. And then for 2 bedrooms, it's $3,400. So that's a huge difference. And then when we move over to the East Village, we're seeing the average price for a 1 bedroom is $3,400, whereas the average price for a 2 bedroom is anywhere between $38,000 to $4,000.
Okay, interesting. And Jeff, what about you? Let's say Upper Manhattan and Prospect Heights. What would you say?
Yeah, so I would say for Upper Manhattan right now, you're probably going to expect an entry-level price point for a 1-bedroom apartment. I mean, like where you're really scraping the bottom of the market here, probably going to be about $1,700-1,800. The median is closer to about $2,100. For a 2-bedroom, for scraping the bottom of the market, you're probably going to be at about $2,100 to $2,200, with the median being a little bit closer to $2,500 to $2,600 in Upper Manhattan, particularly.
Okay, great. Thank you. And Everett, what are you seeing in like the Bed-Stuy and Bushwick areas?
Yeah, for Brooklyn in general and in Bed-Stuy and Bushwick, I'd say they're pretty similar when it comes to neighborhoods, but for 1 bedrooms, you're looking more just under that 2,000 price range for the average. And then for 2 bedrooms, maybe around like 24, 25.
Okay, and that's consistent between both Bushwick, it's about the same?
They're pretty similar, and if you're going for something maybe a little bit more newer, like a new development building or renovated, something like that, might be a little bit higher than that, but that's generally what I tend to see.
Okay, thank you. To arrange, let's say, Union Square and Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, what are you seeing there?
Yeah, so am I still muted? I'm so sorry. It says muted, but it also says no, I'm not muted at the same time. So in Bay Ridge, what you can get for a 2-bedroom is $2,300, but you're getting full-size bedrooms. Like you could fit a queen-size bed in each bedroom, a living room, a sitting kitchen, and access to a yard space, because the majority of renters rent out of like townhouses in Brooklyn. So you're getting a full-on house, like a full floor of a house, with most likely a parking spot as well. You could get, I know this is not what we were talking about, but a 4-bedroom you can also get for around $4,000 with a parking garage and a yard with a pool. If you were going to rent in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, it's fantastic. And Union Square, if you're scraping the bottom of the market, like how Jeff was speaking about, for a 2-bedroom, bottom of the market, around $3,000. That's what I'm seeing recently.
Okay, interesting. Thank you. And Agata, what about where I know you do a lot of business around the Prospect Park area. What are you seeing in like Park Slope, Prospect Park areas?
Hi guys. So I'm generally all around the perimeter of Prospect Park, Park Slope. Park Slope has been a high demand neighborhood for, I think, a long time. It still is. But there's definitely a difference that I see in Park Slope and Prospect Park, even though they're very close together. Generally, I'm seeing 1 bedrooms in Park Slope, again, averaging about 26 to 33. Park Slope is, about 2,600 to 3,300. And of course, we all know that depends on, brownstone, new development. What amenities are there? Are we doing elevator, walk-ups, outdoor space, no outdoor space? So as Jeff and Beatrice were saying, bottom of the market, on average about 26. Given you can find, maybe something that's 21 or 23, but those are just very scarce. Generally 26 to about 3,300 in Park Slope for 1 bedrooms. What I find interesting is 2 bedrooms jump dramatically. Usually I haven't seen a gap like this. 2 bedrooms jump at the moment in Park Slope are starting about on average about $4,000 and going up to $5,500. I believe we might have, this is kind of the last question, but I believe this is because 2 bedrooms are, I think we're going to talk about this, but are kind of in demand. Everyone wants that home office space and things like that. So the market, the landlords, they know that 2 bedrooms are what people are looking for. So they're pretty up there about, what did I say, about 4,000 to 5,500. Prospect Park, just the area a little bit east of Park Slope. You can actually get a little bit of a better value there, and then you're just so close to Park Slope. So Prospect Park, I'm seeing 1 bedrooms about 25 to 3,000 generally, as opposed to what we were saying Park Slope. I think we were saying about 26 to 33. Prospect Park is about 2,500 to 3,000 for 1 bedrooms. I'm seeing 2 bedrooms in Prospect Park. Interestingly enough, 28 to 3,300. So just this, that's such a big jump. Prospect Park, next neighborhood over from Park Slope, it goes from about 28 to 33, and then Park Slope jumps to 4,000, 5,000. So I think that's interesting. If you guys were able to keep up with all my numbers that I threw out there, but yeah.
Okay, great. And then, so tell us, sticking to Agata, what properties are you seeing in high demand right now?
The 2 bedrooms, and not necessarily these true 2 bedrooms, because I'm not seeing roommates who need a true 2 bedroom. I'm seeing a couple or a single person that is coming back to New York because, again, their job is now requiring them to be back in the office. I'm seeing couples coming back from hiatus, from out of state, from parents' homes, from vacation homes. So everyone is looking for that 1 bedroom plus a home office, or the 2 bedroom apartments. But I don't need a true 2-bed. I just need to have my master bedroom, and the second space can be smaller for my office space, my workspace, my husband and I, myself, things like that. So I'm definitely seing 1 bedroom, home office, 2 bedrooms with that extra space.
Got it. Okay. I think it varies, right, by neighborhood. And for all of you, what are, anyone else want to chime in with what you're seeing?
Yeah, I could go. I would definitely go back to the East Village, for example, where we're seeing the demand for 2 to 3 bedrooms are a lot higher. And that's kind of part reason you have the students that are coming back for the fall semester for in-person learning, and their parents are still not as comfortable with living in dorms because of COVID-19. So they're opting for renting off campus. And then to Agata's point, the people that are coming back to the city for work, whether they're working 1 day out of the office for a week or 2 days, they still want that additional room for work from home, or, having that little division of space. So we're still seeing a lot of 2 to 3 bedrooms that are in high demand.
Okay. And so for those people who are potentially moving soon, how far before a move-in date should someone start looking for their new home? Let's come to you, Jeff.
Yeah, so my typical advice and what I tell clients is, and I know this feels so tight on a window, but I typically say that the best window to shop is between about 15 to 25 days before your scheduled move-in. Because anything further out than about 25 days, most landlords are not even going to entertain that application if it is a vacant apartment. Now, if your budget allots you an amount of inventory that is going to be in condos or co-ops, obviously you need to allow at least 30 to 40 days for board approval. That's going to change your move-in structure. So let's say, for example, you're shopping 2 beds on the Upper West Side, just because I have a listing that fits this right now, 2 beds on the Upper West Side up to $6,000 a month. The vast bulk of your inventory that you're going to be looking at is going to be condo co-op, right? So for there, you need to allow about 30 to 40 days so that you have a board approval window there. But if you're looking strictly multifamilies, 15 to 25 days, that is really the best window, not just for timelines for your application, but also for optimal inventory for your needed and selected move-in date.
Okay, thank you. And I mean, I know it's a very competitive market, something that we're seeing a lot of stories about. Coming over to you, Beatrice, what would make a renter stand out in this competitive market?
So the first thing is a phone call. Listing agents like myself, we're getting bombarded with emails. Like even after we already rented it, we're still getting emails online about these listings. So you could have something listed for 2 hours and you're already getting 100 emails for these apartments. It's insane. So when you're emailing a listing agent or you're calling, make sure you already have your documents ready. Start off with that. Make sure if you're having roommates, everybody's on the same page and everybody has their documents, including the guarantors and the parents, etc. Go in with that already. Tell the listing agent that, because they're going to prioritize the person who has their ducks in a row. It's a game of how much time do I have to really showing this apartment. The other thing that I would suggest is if you're going to apply to an apartment, go a little bit above the asking price goes a long way. $25, $50, because if you're competing against 20 other applicants, the owner's going to go with $25 more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, I've never in my career, I got into real estate in 2005. I have never seen these bidding wars for rentals the way that we're seeing them, where homes are going for not just 25, but $500, $1,000 over asking price, because people are just so anxious to get back into the city or to get that apartment that they're having trouble getting to. Okay. So, you know, yes, there was a period of time where there were COVID discounts and people were, in some cases, I know of people who rented like 2 bedrooms in these luxury high rises that would normally go for $4,000 for like $1,700. There are these rare stories. However, you know, that's not to be expected anymore. Are we still seeing concessions? What concessions, if any, are we still seeing, Theresa?
Yeah, I love that question. And to your point, it's like going back to a year ago, we saw these insane COVID pricings and concessions such as 2 to 3 months free. And now we're not seeing that as much. If you look at the luxury building market, yes, we are still seeing approximately like 1 month free, maybe a half month free. But what we are still seeing is that owners, management companies on the listing side, a lot of their properties are still a no fee. So no fee to tenants that are going direct. So we are seeing that, but in regards to concessions, like those 2 to 3 months, they're gone. You're lucky if you have that 1 month concession.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And, you know, there's a lot of people who, for those people who locked in a COVID discount, you know, the question is, how much can landlords raise their rent when, you know, when it's time to renew their lease? Everett, coming to you.
Yeah, so that question also depends on what kind of building you're in. If you are rent stabilized, you know, there's only so much that they can raise it in general. But in terms of like the net effective rent and the couple months free that a lot of people took advantage of last year, the thing is that these rents are going to go right back up to the price that they were originally at. So, you know, I've had some cases of people who will just lock in that price for a year and then they end up moving because the rent's going to increase to too much to accommodate themselves for. Or I've had situations where some people just have to negotiate and say like, hey, like I really can't pay this amount. So is there anything that we can do here? Otherwise I'm going to leave and you're going to have to re-rent it. Which, you know, is what I was telling everyone last year when this happened, when this started happening. It's like, yeah, if you want to live someplace for a year, you know, get 18 months or something out of it, it might be like a good opportunity for you. But, you know, these are market apartments and they can really advertise them and list them the way they want and the way they know they can get the money for it right now, especially. So, yeah, it's really going to be based on your building, but if you can talk to your landlord, definitely make the opportunity to.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So, you know, something that I thought was really interesting was that the eviction moratorium is expiring this month, and there's about 500,000 New York City households that owe rent. So what help is available for these tenants and landlords, Beatrice, coming to you?
Okay, I had a problem with the mute button again. So yeah, 500,000 New Yorkers have missed some type of rent payment. And with that, over 62,000 eviction cases have been filed. And industry experts like ourselves are expecting that number to be so much higher because the case filing system has been delayed. So what can tenants and landlords do about this? New York State has put away $2.7 billion in financial aid, and this is majority from the federal government to help landlords and tenants. Now, there is an application, and you have to apply for this, and you have to get accepted essentially, and there's steps to go into place. So this program will cover about 1 year of rent and 1 year of monthly costs, so your utility bills. The restrictions and guidelines are you have to make less than 80% of the median salary in your area, or you have to make less than $95,450 roughly to qualify for this program. Now, if your landlord has decided to opt out of this program, which they shouldn't, they should try to collect from the government, from this financial aid program. Many lawyers, I'm not a lawyer, consult with your attorney, says you should still file. Why should you still apply? Because you could use it, according to some of the lawyers I talked to, for your defense in your housing court. So the website that you can go to apply is the New York State government website. So it's otda.ny.gov/en. And it's on the New York government website. And the payments go directly to the landlord.
That's wonderful. That's very generous, a whole year. And I do think that the $95,000 income cap is for a family of four, I believe. So that's really very, very helpful. Okay. Thank you so much for that important information, Beatrice. Now, another interesting thing to consider is how many landlords kept their listings off of the market because they didn't want to offer these COVID discounts. So now, there were a lot of listings that were withheld. What does this mean for the market now, Jeff, coming to you?
So I'll try and make this as fast as possible, but I got to add a little bit of backstory here.
Sure, please do.
So what this process is called warehousing. Anytime you hear of a landlord that is holding back apartments, this process is known as warehousing. There was a massive amount of warehousing that began right around June of 2019. And that occurred because of the changes to New York State rent laws, and particularly the changes to rent stabilization laws. So for a lot of landlords now, because the individual apartment improvement increases are capped at an absolutely minuscule amount, major capital improvement increases are capped at an absolutely minuscule, almost non-existent amount. Vacancy increases are gone. A lot of landlords who have very, very low max legal rent stabilized inventory, it is better for them to throw a padlock on the door of that apartment and to write it off of their taxes as a loss than it is to put somebody in that apartment at $700-800 a month forever, because who's going to sign that lease and then move, right? So I don't think that we're going to see this massive amount of inventory just come flood the market. Yes, there were some market rate apartments that were being held over and warehoused, but in my experience, at least anecdotally, anybody else can chime in here, most of the warehousing that I have personally seen is coming from landlords who have massive rent stabilized portfolios. And it doesn't make sense for them to rent these apartments at this really, really low rate. I think the state of New York really needs to look at the Housing Stability and Tenant Protection Act of 2019. And there's some really key measures I think that we need to discuss as an industry repealing, because it's artificially constraining the market and it's hurting small and medium-sized landlords at the exact same time. So that's really what I think is more so happening there, rather than this huge wave of warehousing that happened just simply due to COVID.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's interesting. And I can definitely understand that. If I rented an apartment for $700, I would never move out. Certainly not. Okay. Agata, coming to you, how would you suggest, how do you successfully navigate clients to the finish line in this competitive market?
The number one question, great question. The one thing that comes to mind is, believe it or not, is I prepare my clients to let them know how the market is and what the pace is going to be of us working together, which is going to be pretty like rapid fire. And I'm preparing them to, as Beatrice said, have their documents ready. If there's anything that they might be not sufficient in, I need to know right away. I try to build a trust with my clients as soon as I can, so they can feel that they can let me know their truths. And if there's, something that's maybe not sufficient, credit, things like that, I can be aware of that, and I can represent them in the best light, because I am their representative. So I'm helping get them across the door to the landlord. Beatrice was saying, as a listing agent, you get so many emails, so many inquiries. So I believe what I try to help is I'm very persistent, and I try to get my landlord, the landlord or the listing agent on the phone and just say, I have a wonderful client. Can I please have your email? I have their documents, and I would like to send them over to you right away, even before seeing an apartment, because that will make the listing agent, as Beatrice was saying, see that I have a serious renter and not just somebody who wants to see the unit, maybe kind of, sort of. This is someone who is ready to go. So I guess it's really about myself, I guess, just being persistent, to making sure that my client is seen, my client is heard, and letting people know that we are the serious renter. To please take time, to show us the apartment, and just having my client ready with their paperwork, with their documents, their ducks in a row. But most importantly, not everybody is going to be perfect. Not everyone is going to have the perfect credit, all the income. So it's really talking to them to make sure that we take a creative approach in their application to make sure that it's this beautiful bouquet, however we have to get them there. And one of the number one things I also think is I ask my clients to kind of, the first day is to start drafting a love letter in a way to the landlord, kind of saying, this is who I am, these are my intentions, this is my credit, and I would love to have this apartment. Almost as if like we're buying a place, believe it or not. It feels how competitive it is. It feels, the renter market feels like the buyer market, because we're writing love letters to landlords. Please, I want to rent this place, I'm ready. So that's kind of my take.
That's smart. We recently did a Morning Men episode about the buyer love letter, because it's been in the news that it could be a fair housing issue. If you mention, let's say, your religion, like, for example, you say, I can't wait to celebrate Christmas here. It could be a basis for discrimination, which hopefully that will never happen. But in fair housing, laws, you have to follow them. And so obviously with the love letter, if you do pen one, you just want to be aware of keeping out anything that could help create a opportunity for discrimination. Absolutely. Something to keep in mind. Okay, well,
thank you for saying that.
Yes,
for bringing that up. Yes, please.
Of course. Well, final tips for anyone getting into the New York City rental market right now. Theresa, I'm going to start with you. What would you give one tip to get into the New York City market right now?
Sure, and I think everyone kind of touched on this already, but being prepared. Be prepared with your documents, have everything in order, and just be prepared, set your expectation, have an agent work with you, or if you're coming into it solo, just know that you could present offers that are attractive, or that would be attractive to landlords, in terms of whether it's like offering a higher rent or a sooner move-in date. And then again, having those documents in order will make the biggest difference.
That's so true. In my own experience, I've got to New York City because I was there with my Dropbox full of documents, including all of my financial paperwork and my driver's license and all of that, and was able to send it immediately. And so, because by the time you decide, I like this apartment, let me get work, it's going to be way too late. You're wasting your time. Okay, so Theresa, you said get your paperwork ready, be prepared to get creative with offers, right, and move-in dates. Okay, does anyone have any other tips to share regarding how to get, how to get into the market right now?
Go ahead, Everett.
I was just going to say, definitely ask advice from a real estate agent. Ask some tips, some information about what is going on. There's no one that really knows better about what's going on than someone like us. And even if you aren't working with us, we can at least guide you in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Really
Okay,
nice.
great. Thank you. Yes.
I like that you said that.
You know, obviously we're here to provide value and to people, and among, you know, we have incredible agents at Triplemint. So every agent who is on this live stream right now is an incredible resource. You can reach out to them directly and to get some help or to ask any questions. Jeff, what were you going to say?
The thing I was going to say was be realistic. One of the things that I tell my clients all the time is it is so helpful to make a list of need to haves and nice to haves. Your 3 need to haves are the things you absolutely can't live without. Talk to your agent about if they're realistic. Central air and a washer dryer and unit, probably not always realistic, even if you have an unlimited budget, right? The nice to haves are the things that, well, it'd be great if the apartment had a dishwasher, but if it has everything else I want, I'd still sign the lease. And be realistic within those items. I've worked with clients, I've done rentals in excess of $50,000 a month. And sometimes people don't always get everything on their list, even when they're spending $20,000 or $40,000 a month, because you're renting. Wow. You're not buying a place, you're not making it your own, right? So be realistic about your search. And to Everett's exact point too, yes, use an agent. It's a crass joke. I always say it, but you would never divorce your spouse using the same attorney. I think having representation is really important. You can do that. And so, having somebody who works for you and advocates you on your behalf is really invaluable.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's very much so. Okay. Any final tips for those who are getting market right now before we sign off?
Yeah, I guess my final tip is just going to piggyback off of Jeff. If you have that mindset going in, you also have to have the mindset that you are going to rent something. If you're going on a tour with an agent, you have to think, okay, by the end of this day, 2 days tops, I'm going to sign a lease. I'm going to have my apartment. You're going to miss out on everything if you don't go in with that mindset.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We can't be out there 3 to 5 days to 7 days looking for apartments. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It can't be a 3 to 5 to 7 day kind of process. It's like a 24 to 48 hour window we're in. And we're also helping you find, I start with my clients. I start big, and then we kind of trim the fat, and we choose our top 3 to 5 because I'm here vetting them for you. So yeah, exactly. We're going in. I'm here for you. I'm vetting it, trimming the fat, seeing our top 3, and we're going in to get something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's very helpful. City is unlike any other market, and I think it's a real shock to people who are moving here from elsewhere because they're just not used to how competitive it is. And sometimes people have to lose 1, 2, 3 apartments before they realize, oh, okay, this is saying that. But okay, well, thank you for sharing your time with us and your wisdom and your expertise. We want to wish everyone who's watching best wishes in their search. Reach out to us with finding your perfect apartment, and stay tuned for more wonderful Morning Mint lessons. We're going to be taking a hiatus for the rest of August and restarting a fall curriculum for a buyer's guide series in September. So please stay tuned with us, and thank you, Theresa, Beatrice, Everett, and Jeff. We really enjoyed having you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.